Welcome back, peeps. Still sick. Much better than I was in the last episode. I've taken medicine, taking care of myself because it's what you freaking do. People my age, when you are sick, you take care of yourself so you get better. You don't sit there and suffer. Let's move on. Alright, so. A storm of expectations. Finally, the day comes when the teachers stop coming to the house. But before you can breathe a sigh of relief and put away the books, Father asks you to come to his study. I'm going to try to do the voices a little better than this. You've grown, my son. It's time for you to continue your education away from home. I've chosen a deserving school for you. Oh no, I don't want to leave Gloria. Me and Gloria are like besties. I mean, we're gonna stay besties even though we don't talk all the time, but shut up, chair. Sir Tibor's school for the children of noblemen and well-off commoners. Naturally, it's not a boarding school for nobles. So you will study there during the day and come home in the evening. Okay, good. Okay, so I do still get to hang out then with my sister. Okay, that's good. You share the news with your best friend, Tomas. My best friend is Gloria. Alright.
Sir Tipper School, eh? Yeah, I gotta ask my parents to send me there too as soon as they can get the coin together. Father says the workshop toiled all day and not for years to save up for my education. However, education's not gonna do my brain no very good.
I give you too much crap, Tomas. You're probably smarter than you seem. Ooh, them creaky doors be loud. School is based in an ancient estate of Arcanian design. Classrooms are tall and spacious with massive benches. The sounds of scraping quills and lectures on history and imperial law and theology echo under the vaulted ceilings. The rules are strict, the lessons tiring. Restless Tomas keeps getting distracted. Oh, he did make it! Yay! Restless Tomas keeps getting distracted, and several times he gets his hand slapped with a stick for it. Every teacher demands flawless mastery of their subject. Of course they do. Every day, Father asks you about your studies. You've already told him twice how Magra joined the Empire and how the Noble's Court of Honor is different from the Commoner's Civil Court in the city prefecture. But Father keeps pressuring you to work even harder. When it's time to go to bed, Mother will not let you go to sleep until you recite the newly learned prayer for her. Of course, because that's all we seem to do. And when it is time to go to school, you promise her every day that you will behave with great humility and steer clear of insolent behavior of any kind, for you still live by the commoner's lot, and that lot is hard work and suffering, which freaking sucks, because, this kid's a baller, and I want him to grow up and be able to live as a baller for the rest of his life. You know those people who, even when they're young, it's like, that kid's a baller. This kid's a baller. Your first month in school draws to a close, and teachers announce that there will be exams at the end of the month to determine the best and worst students in each subject. Oh, poor Tomas is going to fail out, isn't he? Father insists that you devote all of your spare time to studying law and history if you wish to follow in his footsteps. I don't know if he does, though. But when you speak to Mother every day, you start considering theology. You still remember the revelations and divine visions that came to you in your earliest years. Yeah, when I saw Mom and Dad, and I'm like, which one? It may not have been Mom and Dad. It might have been the twins, and that might have been like a picture of what, the mother-father relationship looks like. You got the fist of the father, and that's one of the sons. I think that's the younger son, and then you've got the soft hand of the mother, which I believe is the older. But we'll figure this stuff out. But yeah, I had the option between Mom and Dad, and I chose the empty void. And the void spoke back to me. Burp have issues. Burp have big issue bad. You have only one more day until the exam. You have locked yourself away in a room. It's already getting late. Your desk is covered with handwritten notes surrounded by leather-bound books. Just looking at them makes you queasy, but you have to read through all of them again, at least for one of your subjects. There's a nagging thought in your mind. Tomas ended up being in trouble the other day. He got in a fight with several boys that who live next street. That's a weird way to put that. They heard about your wooden fortress and got in an outrage by the fortification built by commoners. They swore to dismantle it tonight. Tomas swore he would defend the fortress until the end. Perhaps you should abandon the books and rescue the friend in need. But then you hear your little brother Nathan knocking at the door. He stands there shyly, not saying a word. He often does that, standing still and staying speechless until either you speak first or he runs away. This time he actually says something.
The door is locked. Are you okay, babe? Is there anything I can do to help? Oh, dude. I mean, like, I'm totally stoned out of my gourd, dude, but I'll, like, fall on someone for you.
Your head is spinning. The last evening before the school exam, if you fail, the family will be very disappointed. You have to refresh your memory on law or theology, either one or the other, but the moss and your fort are about to be stormed. Why today of all days? Grind your teeth in rage at the thought. Nathan is by the door, trying not to bother you. He wants to help you the only way he can, for reasons known only to him. Will you accept his help? I want to help Tomas, but something tells me that I need to hang around with Nathan. Here's the thing. Burp right now. I can't take myself seriously with that name. That's why I picked it. Burp is too much of a loose cannon to really be a part in the society, and I feel like even though he's how old is he right now? He's 12 years old, but I feel like he's got a good enough grasp on the world to know that he's not going to be a part of this thriving society the way that he is wanted to be a part of the thriving society. Like, he is his own thing. And so I feel like he is more bound to duty with either Nathan or Tomas. I feel like he's going to side with Nathan because his relationship with Gloria is really strong. And I feel like if he can hold on to that with Nathan, especially the one, that's most blood related to him, I feel like he's going to feel that way. And I'm hoping that Nathan wants to help me with Tomas. I think that would be the best situation. We build both of those together, but I'm going to spend a moment with Nathan. Because at this point, and here's the reality, if you're going into college, here's the real deal. If you're the day before the exam, you've done most of your study time, okay? Like, you can try to cram all of you want, you'll forget most of what you try to study during the cram. Your best study time is like 2 weeks before, when you lay out all of the important notes and you review the most important things, and then you can slowly add on those things. That way you're not cramming the day before. It's better to take a rest the day before. So, like, what's it really going to help anyways? A storm of expectations. That's still the same section. You cannot help but pay attention to your brother's quiet, weak voice. I mean, he is a weakling, but I mean, he's also like, I'm 12, so he's like 9. You push the books away. Nathan runs to you and wraps his arms around your legs. Okay, so maybe he's littler than that. Maybe he's like 8.
They should just leave you alone. I don't want you to get sick. Take this. I already got it lit for you.
Warmth emanates from his hands. Probably the smoking helps do a little bit of that. You feel the burden of responsibilities thrust upon you fall from your shoulders. At least you realize something. You can make your own decisions rather than submit to the will of others. And that is the heart of Burp's lifestyle so far. You laugh at this realization and feel a new spring in your step. Good, and maybe this will give me more willpower! I have a will to live again! Nathan laughs with joy when he feels this. He takes your hand and pulls you outside. You've studied enough. Yes! You spend the rest of the evening playing with your little brother, teaching him how to build a watchtower out of wooden plank sticks and old rags in the house. Nathan's success in construction leaves much to be desired, unlike his skill in covering himself with mud. He's a kid, though. Still, he is absolutely overjoyed. How old is he at this point? He is... we don't know. Cool. Alright, that's okay, though. So we know Gloria is at least 3 years older, but probably older than that. Stefan is a little bit older than Gloria, and then there's me, and then Nathan is somewhere between 3 to 5 years younger. Morning comes. You barely had time to wake up before you were walking to the menacing edifice of the school. The entire day is a constant flow of questions and demanding answers. You give satisfactory responses on law and history, although you are somewhat confused by many of the technicalities and chronological orders. Same, bro. Your knowledge of the interpretations of the lots leaves much to be desired. Yeah, because screw the lots. Screw the lots and screw the nobles. Your parents are dissatisfied with your performance. You know that you could have worked harder. And you don't care, because you're freaking Brante. And who gives a crap other than Brante? Still, you believe yesterday was not a waste. And I've built up my relationship with Nathan. Here's the thing. I feel like the way this story is building, that eventually family is going to be what gets me out of a bind in the end. And I've already got bad relations with 2 of those family members. Let's go ahead and we'll see. Let's see where I'm at. Okay, we've got a great relationship with Dad. We have a good relationship with Mom. We have a dead relationship with Dad. We have a negative relationship with both Stefan and with Gregor. But at the same time, I mean, like, me and Roberts is spicy good right now, and Gloria is like my best friend in the whole world. So this was a good time. Okay? So I built up some sympathy, and I built up some freaking willpower. Woo! Oh, I hope I'm feeling better, because that would have killed my voice if I'm not. Alright, that means I can do a lot of tough things. That's good. I need that. Your education continues, and as you study imperial law, you come to realize there is a certain hierarchy even within the noble estate. Seems your father's status is not quite equal to that of more eminent human and Arcanian gentry. Okay? You return home with this new information at your disposal. Father asks you about school after dinner. He always does. And what is the difference between the nobles of mantle and those of the sword, Bump? You already have an answer ready. The latter is the hereditary, meaning that it's passed down from father to son after the Arcanians, nobles of the sword, and most eminent humans in the empire. They own land and estates, they fill offices of the highest ranks, and the names of their bloodlines are preserved with the Great Blue Book. Nobility of the sword can only be granted only by the overseer of the province or the emperor himself. I am so glad we don't live in a caste system in the United States, because here's the thing. We have a lot of success stories of people who start with nothing, or people who live like in the hood, and they work hard, they make good impressions with their bosses, and then eventually they get to the point where like either they own the company or they're like significant leaders. That was true of one of my previous bosses. I didn't like him. I thought he was a jerk, but not only a jerk, I felt like he was a little bit of a weasel. But he was one of those great success stories. He started with nothing. He grew up in the hood. He went to the military. He impressed people in the military. He retired from the military, came to work at a carpet plant, and he's been one of the big leads at this company for a long time. So, I mean, like, these stories happen pretty often in the States, but they can't happen somewhere where there's no mobility. And so that, for like India or China, that really sucks. That really sucks for these places where there's so many people who are unable to change their destiny, and that's why it's so important that we preserve what we have right now. And how are such eminent people addressed? With the honorific L before their last name, you respond, Sir Augustine, or Augustine L. Bourne, for example. Father pats you on the shoulder, clearly pleased. Oh, good. And what about the Archneans and their status? What have you learned about them? The Archneans stand above all human gentry. They are born to rule over humans regardless of their titles. No L is required when addressing them. They need no honorifics, for the names of their ancient dynasties are known to all. Okay. Father nods somberly. Oh, maybe he shares. Yes, we can never be their equals. Do whatever an Archnean tells you and never defy them. Ever. I'm feeling like what's going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and call this, and you guys remember this and remind me of it later on if I'm right or wrong, okay? It seems like Robert is more of a kindred spirit with us. Maybe more than we realize. So, I'm wondering if what's going to happen. Here's my bet. Robert is a kindred spirit with us in terms of like how he feels about the hierarchy and everything. And what's going to end up happening is that Burmp is going to become what Robert tried to avoid. Like, he has the same desires to do the same things as we do, but he's not going to because he feels like the system can't be broken. Burmp doesn't accept that, and he tries to be what his father would not be. That's what I think is going to happen. And what about grandfather and me? Where do we stand as nobles? Well, that's easy. Father and grandfather are nobles of the mantle. Their titles cannot be inherited, but can be earned by any commoner as a reward for great service to the empire in the legion or as a civil servant, which means lots of hard work. Father suddenly grows quiet and looks you in the eye intently. Yes, and someday you will earn a noble title too. Soon. All in due time. He really does have hope for Burmp at this point, which is a good thing. Alright. Sir Tibor School teaches children of all stripes. Nobles of the mantle and the low-born parents can send their sons here. And every passing day, the children of noblemen invent new ways to snub and bully the commoners. Most of the time, the bully leading them is Diedrich, the son of the secretary from the imperial chancellery and a self-important slob. The sons of noblemen never pick on you, however. They know that your father has been ennobled by mantle. Okay? So this is, yep, here we go. However, Dietrich and his retinue soon choose Tomas as their favorite victim. Time and time again, you ask your friend not to pay them any mind, but again and again, Tomas grows angry and snaps at their self-satisfied mockery. It's early in the morning. The students are busy flocking the classroom for their next lesson. You wave Tomas over when you see them. He waves back at you, and then a bucket full of soap splashes on him. Poor kid. Needless to say, it's the work of Diedrich and his entourage. If it's needless to say, why did you say it? You hear his familiar, creaky laughter. The tailor's son stinks. How dare he sit next to decent folk? Tomas clenches his fists. You're dead, Dietrich. He throws himself at Dietrich's haughty entourage like a soldier ready to wage war. He attacks them first. This is just what they expected, and they are free to retaliate, because they're nobles. He barely makes one movement before 4 pairs of hands grab him at once. Dietrich sneers and kicks your friend in the belly. Tomas gasps for air and starts coughing. You stand between them as Dietrich readies for another kick. The nobleman's son cocks an eyebrow.
Would you mingle with the commoners? He asks. Your father is a noble mentor. You ought to be friends with your own kind, your equals, not the dirt beneath your feet.
Behind him, 4 boys hold Tomas down as he struggles furiously. The other students are watching you, frozen in fear. Dietrich haughtily extends a hand to you. He clearly expects you to shake it. What do you do? Nah, I don't feel like that's gonna go well. That's not gonna go well. If you turn him over because he's, according to the lineage, not lineage, but the nobility, he would be right. Ooh, I like that because he is sharp. He's not he's not just a, he's got a quick tongue of him. So I'm gonna go with this. All right. You make a speech not to not to the lead bully himself, but rather to his retinue. How come Dietrich sees himself fit to instigate fights? His family may be higher in rank, but like everyone else here, he has yet to take the nobleman's sacrament himself. The nobleman's lot is not yet his, so he is not yet fit to fight or rule. Nor are any of you. The twin gods are every watching over us, you add. And they are ever vigilant. Do you dare defy their will? Dietrich tries to retort. They've broken no laws. All they've done is teach commoners the meaning of suffering. You call upon the knowledge gained from your theology lessons and easily pick his argument apart. Every man's first duty is to follow his lot. And Dietrich and his friends lack the humility to accept that they are not yet true nobles. I love this. The hand holding Tomas down grow weak. There's a whisper among the students around you. You're right. The twins are always watching how we follow the lots. Dietrich's retinue quickly dissolves in embarrassment. He furiously orders them to come back and join his cause, but his exhortations are all in vain. Yay! The other boys are clearly impressed by your words. The noble children will think twice before acting out again. Woo! I love this kid. Yeah. See, this is the kid I would hang out with. And we've built up some relationship with Tomas. That's good. That's really good. And he's not going to be picked on. That's really good. Oh, and I built up some spirituality. Okay, that's good. I mean, I'm still really low, and that's probably not going to continue to go up based on how he's going. But, I mean, he's a smart aleck. All right. Let's see, how long are we going right now? We are at 23 minutes. We'll finish out this year. Okay. The Silver Tree. This is the big legendary one. Your theology teacher tells you more about Anazote. It is more than just the providential capital. It is also a sacred place blessed by the gods. It is where the twin gods' first disciples spilled their blood. And from that blood grew the sacred silver tree. Its enormous foliage hangs over the city. You see its branches in the sky every day, but you have never approached the trunk of the tree yourself. Today, you will be taking your first trip to the silver tree. Your class is visiting a service in the great temple by the tree's very roots. Thanks to your theology teacher, you and the other students will witness the landmark of the twins' advent up close. Everyone is excited. The advent. This is the one that I effed up. Soon you and the other boys enter the slums surrounding the church district of Anazote. The roots are pulsating under your feet. They spread underground all throughout the area. Pathetic, cramped hovels and filthy streets surround the trunk of the tree. They are home to paupers, day laborers, and preachers. The people of the district bow humbly to you and point you towards the temple. They seem at peace despite the abject poverty in which they live. All who live directly beneath the tree are filled with its divine grace. Your teacher says, people come here to make peace with the world and their fate in it. Your class is unusually quiet. Everyone is listening to the rustling of the leaves and the underground beating of the roots. The sky above you is obscured by the tree's canopy. You find the temple of the twin gods right next to the tremendous trunk of the tree. It almost seems a part of it. There's a crowd there, pilgrims dressed in traveling clothes, paupers and beggars and common people of the city, and an occasional well-dressed noble. Then arguments among some people who are gathered in separate small groups. Many people are wandering around, staring upward at the tree's branches. The tree impresses you with its might and the calm emanating from it. You are filled with a desire to sit down and think of the world, to learn something about yourself, to touch the silver white bark and hearken to the whispering leaves. You're distracted enough to fall back from the rest of your classmates. You notice a small path that should take you right next to the trunk. A tall, red-haired woman walks out of the crowd of pilgrims. She is wearing a worn white robe. She is no longer young, but her face is youthful and covered in freckles. Her hands clutch a book. You have never seen this lady pilgrim before, yet she looks at you almost as if she has recognized a lifelong friend. She beckons you and says her name. Matilde, I'm guessing Matilde? A preacher from Asthenia. What she says shakes you to your very core. It is commendable to see young men so keen on learning the teachings of the twins, she says. Yet you will never follow the light of the truth within the walls of the temple. Instead, you will only find the lies about the lots, the erring words of the prophet Isatias, sanctified by the passage of centuries. Yet anyone who seeks out to read the accounts of the twins' own lives knows they never so much as mentioned the lots. That's what I freaking thought! The red-haired preacher's words frighten you. They clash with everything you have heard from Mother, everything you have been taught at school. The lots are a lie? That makes so much sense. You freeze in fear. Should you argue with Matilde or ask for more information, or should you treat her as a mad woman and catch up with your classmates? No. You know exactly what you're doing. You suddenly feel a small, warm hand to grasp your own. You see a girl right next to you. She's just a little older than you, wearing a black dress, threadbare yet almost spotless. Her hair is covered by a handkerchief, with only a single golden lock showing. Well, that is obviously not what we're seeing here. Her brown eyes are burning with rage, her hand pulling you away from that red-haired preacher. You stare in confusion. Oh wait, this is probably the preacher lady. Okay. You stare in confusion at the strange young girl, your cheeks flushed by the sudden touch. There's just a bit of color in her cheeks too, but then she starts speaking to you quickly. Oh, it is her.
Don't listen to her. She is dangerous. Come to the temple with me. Only there will you see the truth.
You stand there. I don't have enough insight. Oh, man. But I don't believe that he would follow, because yes, this goes against everything that he's learned, but this agrees with who he is as an individual. You stand there surrounded by the crowd of praying pilgrims and the sounds of shuffling feet torn between two people you have never seen before, and each of them expects you to follow her. But all the while you hear the whisperings of the wind in the tree's branches. The branches reach out for you, almost as if the tree wishes to speak to you itself. Can you hear its voice? Sadly, I can't. But I am gonna stay with the red-haired pilgrim, because this is the stuff that he's been feeling inside for a while. You shrug, smile sheepishly at the girl, and walk towards the red-haired preacher. You're not Sophia. My heart is for Sophia only, even though I'm 12. This Matilde of Asthenia, she speaks too strangely to be ignored. You feel she will be leaving soon anyways. And the temple, surely the temple is not going anywhere. The lady preacher hands her book to you. There are words on the cover, The Lives of the Twins. The book is so heavy you almost drop it. The crowd around you barely allows for a proper reading. The best you can do is flip through the pages and hope to get a glimpse a message or two from it. Matilda's hushed voice comments on each new page. The book was written by the disciples of the twins. When the twin gods descended and brought faith to the world, they walked the lands with them. It is filled with many stories, wonders, and battles, as well as records of the twins' own sermons and dialogues. They discuss many things that now guide the living, the fate that awaits us on the shining pillar, the eternal life after the true death, the profane evil of magic. Yet Matilda points out something that you cannot help but notice yourself. There is not one mention of the lots in this book. How can this be, you ask her. It is what it is, she responds. The twins never spoke of them. They never left any teaching behind. Nothing but their deeds and their own lives in this world. You frown. Then how come we know about the lots now? Exactly, dude! Exactly what I'm freaking saying! They exist thanks to Issatias. Issatias, favored by the gods, the eldest favorite disciple, walked the lands by his side and through all the hardships until his fatal end in Eterna. They came to be, she explains, when people came to Issatias and asked him how they should live. Yet Issatias was but a man, and his teachings of the lots were not a divine revelation, but a speculation of his own devising. This feels much tougher than learning prayers. So if the teachings of the lots come not from the gods, but rather from their student, what does that mean for you? What does that mean for the people? It means you're free, dude! A new faith, the red-haired preacher says with a smile. Freak yes! Freak yes! You think about her words for a long time as the silver tree whispers above your head, the very tree grown from the blood of people who walked the land with the younger and the elder. You keep on thinking about it even as you make your way home and into bed. Your conclusions bring you no comfort. If that strange lady preacher was right, then what are you supposed to be, then you are supposed to be free to interpret the twins' words yourself, which means that you and only you should be responsible for your life and fate in the hereafter. But who can tell for sure? Who cares? You cannot fall asleep that night. So they were lying to you all this time. And they weren't really lying, but they probably didn't know either. In the morning, you still mutter off a prayer and the words of your lot to work, endure, and suffer. But is it all worth it if the lots don't really exist? Or is it the will of the twins after all? Did they actually speak their will through Issatias? And those who defy that will are defying the true order of the world. These questions will remain in your mind for a long time. Oh, so my spirituality went up because of that. Interesting. I figured it would have gone down, but that's cool. Oh, the birds. The birds. Why did they scream at me so? Shadow of the past. Another school day has ended. You're making your way home, still mulling over the things you learned from your teachers. The founding of the empire, the eternal and unshakable rule of a single dynasty. The 3 estates, each with its own rights. What an odd sort of order the world has, and yet so mysterious. At least it sounds that way when your teachers talk about it. Mother is waiting for you on the porch. She smiles gently when she sees you, and yet her expression still shows great concern. Father left on a trip several distant Magran towns a few days ago. Since then, Mother has been trying to tell you something, but she seems uncertain. Son, could you put things away and come pray with me? I mean, I guess so. I mean, I do have a good relationship with you. It's not great, but I do. You join Mother in a prayer to the twins. She prays with fervent sincerity, her head bowed low, reciting the words of obedience to them and their greater design in a barely audible whisper. You repeat after her just as she has taught you ever since you were a little boy. The prayer ends, Mother sighs and turns to you. Burp, my son. You are 13 now. You'll be grown soon. It's time you learned about certain things that are important to our family. Difficult things. It's about your father and me, our marriage. You gaze curiously into Mother's eyes. Is your marriage fake? What am I about to... Mom? What are you about to tell us? Mom? I'm sure you've wondered about this before. Your father's a nobleman of Mantle, so how could he marry a commoner with another man's child? What are you saying, Mom? But you see, Bump, your father, with his first wife, Amalia Elborn, died. It was a painful blow to him. He lost the will to live, lost all purpose. Like I've lost the will to live like 4 times since playing this game? I mean, I've got a lot of will to live now, but it took a while to get that back. He felt like his own destiny was cut short that day as well. Does he only have 1 life left? And then he met me. You know the troubles I had in the past. I went to the prefecture as a petitioner to ask them for help, protection, justice. When I was a young girl, I worked at a small shop that sold crockery and dishes. A nobleman took a liking to me. May his name be forever forgotten. The twins know I was humble and honored his lot to rule, but he took me by force. Mother falls silent, summoning the courage to continue. Gloria is that nobleman's daughter, but he was outraged. How could I have the gall to burden him with lowborn progeny, whatever. He turned me out to the streets with that little baby girl in my arms. Mother's voice is shaking now. You take her hand tenderly. I had no home, no honor, nowhere to go, no one to help me. When I went to the prefecture, I didn't think the judges there would help me find justice against my former master. But when Sir Robert heard my plea, his eyes met mine. And I believe that at that very moment, the twins themselves granted him the gift of their love. Your father told me there was nothing he could do to make the detestable nobleman marry me. But he would never abandon me and baby Gloria, and if I agreed, he would take me into his own home. Tears are running down Mother's cheeks. And I knew it, my son. I knew how much his honor and reputation would suffer. But caring for me brought him back to life. It's like he experienced another sacrament. He rediscovered his noble purpose, his lot to rule and to protect and care for others. But his decision to marry me, he is still paying for it today. Your father had the courage to defy grandfather, the founder of his bloodline. I only knew how much he had to endure, my son. So this is an absolutely sad story, and I'm going to skip through some of it because I don't necessarily want to read all of it. It's very sweet, and you can read it on your own time if you'd like to. Mother falls silent. She looks at you intently. Do you understand what she is telling you? My son, I'm not telling you this just to share the pain of my past. I have no reason to complain. Even Sir Gregor's accepted me through gritted teeth. But you need to understand the heavy burden of our family must bear, including our scandalous marriage and Gloria's foul origin. And Gloria, she can never be a Brante. Even if the elder Brantes agreed, the news would stir up the old scandal in the minds of high society. And if that were to happen, Burb, they would see even your birth as illegitimate. What I told you now is something that you have to know, son. I would never distance myself from Gloria. Never. I would never. Conditions not met. I don't care because I love Gloria. But may I ask you a question? Now that you know all of this, do you still see Gloria as your sister? Of course. Like, literally, you, not just looking at the charts, but in terms of, like, character development, like, Gloria is Burmp's best friend. Of course I accept her. Filled with determination, you assure Mother that Gloria is and always will be your sister. You want Gloria to be a Brante too. You want her to be a part of your family. Who cares what the nobles of Anazote say? Yes, screw the nobles! Except for the one chick. Mother beams with quiet joy when she hears this. Good. That makes me so happy. Oh, Burp. You only knew how happy that would make me, to have our family united at last. However, the joy in her face quickly gives way to concern. But I already owe Sir Robert a good debt I can never repay. I'm just going to read this quickly. He's given my daughter so much education, home education, his care and advice. The Brante bloodline could suffer so much from Gloria's existence. We should all just learn to accept her status as it is. Screw that, Mother. You're way too... I know you've been through a lot. But you've got your husband, and now you've got your son that are ready to absolutely screw the nobility and accept her. And just then you hear Gloria carefully knock at the door of Mother's chambers.
Mother, Bump, I couldn't find you.
You happily greet your sister. Yes, she is your sister. No old secrets can ever change that. Mother gives you and Gloria a kiss on the forehead and returns to her prayers.
Woohoo!
I love Gloria. You and your sister walk downstairs together. Mother is alone by her bedside now, thanking the twins with a quiet prayer for the Brante family tree they have given her. This is so great. Oh, and I built up Mama's relationship too. This is so good. Family is going to save my butt later. I am convinced of that. Am I growing another year? You're 13 now, another theology lesson. Today's sermon is about the priest and why the clergy is the only one of 3 estates with the right to interpret the lots and guide the other 2 estates accordingly. Tomas sits next to you, huffing and puffing. He fervently writes down teachers every word. Good for you, buddy. Good for you, and I'm glad you're not being picked on anymore. But you've heard all of this from Mother many times before, so you take a moment to daydream a little. Father promised to take you to the capital once your studies are complete, but the teacher suddenly casts a stern look around the lecture hall, raises his voice at one of your classmates. A boy named Brian jumps out of his seat. The teacher asks him to repeat what he just said. Brian freezes and seems to shrink. He tries to muster a reply, but nothing comes out. The class becomes agitated. Someone is about to get punished. The teacher now looms over Brian. The boy's cheeks are flushed and his eyes are covered in tears. You watch the teacher's iron-bound look as he raises it sharply, about to strike. Brian shrieks and raises a hand in front of him. Sudden flash, the teacher screams and buries his face in his arms, his hair ablaze and his skin covered in horrible burns. What the? It's magic, real magic, just like in the books about the Magra Rebellion. The class freezes in shock. There's a dull thud as the iron-bound book falls to the floor. What the heck? Brian, we're gonna be buddies. Brian's hysterical laughter rends. We're not gonna be buddies. Rends the silence. He stands up from his bench, fire in his eyes and sparks on his fingertips. We are not friends. We are not friends. We're not enemies, but we are not friends. There are screams now. Students run from the door. The teacher tries to extinguish his burning hair. Brian snaps his fingers and the book of Issatius on the desk turns to pillars of flame. He laughs and raises his arms and the curtains catch fire. This is taking a really wild turn. The screams now grow louder as the fire howls. Brian's face is he's a freaking Super Saiyan. He's a Super Saiyan firebender, and I'm loving it. But like, holy crap, this took a turn. You and Tomas glance at each other. I was like, he's gonna burn the whole school down. Your friend's determination makes you brave. You run behind Brian and knock him off his feet. You both tumble to the floor. Even through his clothes, his body sears your flesh. Ow! Brian screams, convulses, and grabs Tomas by the shoulder. You get your hands off my boy! There are servants fussing around the room now. They put out the fire and take away the teacher, his body covered in horrible burns. You and Tomas remain next to Brian, who is lying on the floor, silent. Soon 3 men in black cloaks enter the room of school, each bearing an edict sealed with Silver. The Inquisition. What does that mean? You and Tomas are told to step away from the witch. They lock her. She's a witch! They lock Brian's neck in a silver collar and take him away. Okay. This is going to be interesting. One of the Inquisitors remains behind to tell the students what happened. That was magic, he explains, the ungodly power that twists the minds of men into savage instruments of murder. Only the sacred shackles of silver can hold it at bay. Only the power of the twins can save us all from its evil grasp. But at the same time, I'm doubting everything that I'm hearing. The next day, you are forbidden from ever mentioning Brian's name again. He is no more. What the crap is happening? Well, I'm glad I built up some sympathy with him, because I didn't do anything. I didn't have any choices, but okay. Alright. So, I'm gonna chill here, and, you can stop screaming at me? Thank you. I'm gonna chill here for a little bit, and, we're gonna end this episode, and I'll be back in a little while, so, thank you guys. Bye!